The Coalition High Command met in emergency session. Holographic representatives from across the galaxy filled the chamber. Every major species, every powerful faction, all watching as Fleet Admiral Corvin presented the situation. "We have lost 4,000 ships," he said, his voice flat. Numbers, cold statistics. But behind each number were lives, crews, families. The human resistance has been far more effective than anticipated. Our supply lines are compromised. Our communications are disrupted. Morale is at critical levels. Ambassador Vrex stood. "I recommend withdrawal, negotiation. These humans have proven they will fight. Perhaps we can reach a diplomatic solution." "Absolutely not," High Chancellor Mavericks declared. She was old even by coalition standards. She had helped write galactic law centuries ago. "If we withdraw, we admit defeat. Every species under our authority will see that resistance is possible. The coalition will collapse. Thousands of years of peace will end." "Then what do you suggest?" Rex asked. "We're losing this war." "We commit everything," Maverick said coldly. "All reserve fleets, all available vessels, 15,000 additional ships. We overwhelm them with numbers they cannot possibly counter. We demonstrate that defying the coalition, regardless of determination or tactics, is ultimately futile." The chamber fell silent. 15,000 ships. The entire coalition reserve. It was unprecedented, excessive, but it would work. No species, no matter how stubborn, could stand against those numbers. "Approved," Corvin said. "All reserves will mobilize immediately." The transmission ended. Across coalition space, thousands of ships began moving toward Earth's solar system. The largest military force in galactic history, 22,000 vessels, once they combined with the existing fleet, against Earth's remaining 217 combat ships. In the Geneva Command Center, Commander Sung watched the sensors with growing concern. "Admiral Hanna, we're detecting massive fleet movements. They're bringing everything. Every reserve ship, every auxiliary vessel. We're looking at a total coalition force of over 20,000 ships." Hanna stared at the tactical display. 20,000 ships, more than 100 to 1 odds. Even with human tactics, even with determination and skill, those were impossible numbers. "Get me Captain Tay," she said quietly. On the Defiance bridge, Tay received the call. He already knew what it meant. His sensors showed the same thing. The coalition had decided to end this with overwhelming force. "Captain," Admiral Hanna said, "all Earth forces are ordered to fall back to Earth orbit. No more hit-and-run attacks, no more strike missions. We consolidate at the homeworld." Tay felt his chest tighten. "Admiral, that's a last stand," Hanna finished. "Yes, I know. But we've hurt them. We've shown them what it costs to threaten Earth. Now we show them what it costs to actually attack Earth, all ships. Earth orbit. That's final." The transmission ended. Tay looked at his bridge crew. Lieutenant Mira, Lieutenant Park, all the officers he'd served with through this impossible war. They knew what this meant. No more running. No more tactical retreats. Earth orbit was the final defensive line. "You heard the Admiral," Tay said. "Set course for Earth. All ships form up on the Defiant. We're going home." Across the solar system, human vessels began moving. Strike teams abandoned their positions. Fighter squadrons returned to carriers. The scattered, chaotic defense that had bled the coalition for days suddenly concentrated into a single defensive sphere around Earth. The coalition commanders watched with satisfaction. "They're retreating to their homeworld," Fleet Admiral Corvin reported. "They understand they cannot win. This is surrender positioning." "Good," Ambassador Vrex said. He felt relieved. Maybe the humans would surrender now. Maybe this bloodshed could end. "Should we offer terms?" "No," Corvin said flatly. "We tried diplomacy. They chose violence. Now they face the consequences. All ships, advance on Earth. Prepare for final assault." What neither Vrex nor Corvin knew was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Dr. Kwan stood in a bunker deep beneath Beijing, watching his life's work come online. The grid, the planetary defense system that humanity had built in secret piece by piece, weapon by weapon, over half a century of preparation. "All systems are operational," he reported to Admiral Hanna. "We have full integration. Ground bases, orbital platforms, moon batteries, asteroid installations. Everything is connected. Everything is ready." "Power levels?" Hanna asked. "At maximum. We have enough energy reserves for 6 hours of continuous fire, maybe 8 if we manage the load carefully. That will have to be enough, Hana said. She pulled up the grid's tactical display. It was beautiful, terrifying. Millions of weapon systems all controlled by a single network, all designed for one purpose, making Earth unconquerable. Dr. Kwan, you've spent your entire career building this. Are you certain it will work? Kwan smiled slightly. Admiral, I've studied every defensive battle in human history, from castle sieges to city defenses to orbital warfare. The grid incorporates every lesson we've learned. The coalition has numbers, but we have preparation. And in warfare, preparation beats numbers. Captain Tay brought the Defiant into Earth orbit. Around him, the rest of humanity's fleet took position. 217 ships, all that remained of Earth's mobile defense force. Behind them, blue and beautiful, hung their world. Captain, the coalition fleet is entering the solar system, Lieutenant Park reported. 22,000 vessels. They're advancing in standard formation. They expect a conventional battle. Tay allowed himself a grim smile. They're about to learn that humans don't do conventional battles. All ships, battle stations, charge all weapons, raise shields, and someone open a channel to the coalition flagship. It's time I had a conversation with Ambassador Vrex. The channel opened. Ambassador Vrex's face appeared on screen. He looked tired, conflicted. Behind him, Tay could see coalition officers preparing for battle. Human Captain, Vrex said, "You have shown courage. You have fought well, but this is over. 22,000 ships approach your world. Surrender now and we will show mercy. Your people will live under coalition law, but they will live. Continue fighting and you doom your entire species." Tay stood. He thought about his daughter, probably in a shelter now with millions of other civilians. He thought about his parents, about Lieutenant Mira's family, about every person on Earth who had put their faith in the military to protect them. "Ambassador Vrex," Tay said calmly, "you came to our home and told us to obey your laws. You threatened our people. You attacked our colonies. You've spent days trying to break our will, and you still don't understand what you're facing." He gestured to Earth behind him. "This is our home. We were born here. We evolved here. We built our civilization here, and we will defend it with everything we have. You think 22,000 ships is enough? You think overwhelming numbers will make us surrender?" Tay's voice grew harder. "Let me tell you about human history. We've faced impossible odds before. At Thermopylae, 300 Spartans held off an army of thousands. At the Battle of Britain, a small air force defended their island against overwhelming invasion. At Chosin Reservoir, surrounded Marines fought their way through entire armies. Humans have a tradition, Ambassador. When we're outnumbered, when victory is impossible, when everyone says we should surrender, that's when we fight hardest." He stepped closer to the camera. "You have your galactic law, your coalition rules, your 1,000 years of peace through intimidation. We have our own laws, and our first law is this. We protect our home. Our second law, we never surrender. Our third law, you should have left when you had the chance." Tay made a gesture. Behind him, Earth's defense grid powered up. Weapon systems across the planet, the moon, the asteroid belt, all coming online simultaneously. The energy signature was massive, unmistakable. Vrex's face went pale. What is that?" "That," Tay said quietly, "is what happens when you threaten Earth. That is 50 years of preparation. That is every weapon system, every defense platform, every military installation humanity has built. That is the grid. And you're about to find out why attacking Earth was the worst decision you ever made." He cut the transmission. "All ships," Tay broadcast to the fleet, "for Earth, for humanity, for every person counting on us, show them what it means to fight humans. Show them that our laws are written in steel and fire. Show them that Earth bows to no one." The human fleet moved into final defensive positions. Behind them, the grid hummed with barely contained power. Above them, 22,000 coalition ships approached, confident in their victory. What they didn't know was that Earth had transformed from a planet into a weapon. Every city had defense batteries. Every military base had artillery that could fire into orbit. The moon was covered in railgun installations. Asteroids throughout the belt had been hollowed out and filled with missile systems. Dr. Kwan watched his displays. All systems green. All weapons ready. He opened a channel to Admiral Hana. "The grid is ready, Admiral. On your command, we can engage the entire coalition fleet simultaneously." Hana looked at the approaching enemy. 22,000 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled. Coming to conquer Earth, coming to enforce their laws, coming to learn why humanity made its own rules. All forces, Hana said calmly, weapons free, show them Earth's law, and the planet opened fire. Now, Jin said, now we prepare. We repair our platforms. We are the Coalition War Council convened aboard the flagship Eternal Justice. Ambassador Vrek stood before a room full of military commanders, each one representing a different species, each one looking at him with expressions ranging from confusion to anger. You said they would surrender, Fleet Admiral Corvin said. His species was tall and thin, with skin like polished metal. You said no species has ever resisted Coalition authority. Now we have 47 ships destroyed and thousands dead. Vrex felt shame burning through him. The Coalition hadn't suffered losses like this in centuries. The humans are unexpected. They should have followed protocol. Every species follows protocol. Well, they didn't, Corvin snapped. And now we look weak. If word spreads that a single primitive world defeated a Coalition fleet, every species under our control will question our authority. We must respond with overwhelming force. I agree, another commander said. This one was broader, armored like a living tank. Send the main fleet. 10,000 ships. End this quickly, Vrex wanted to argue, wanted to find a peaceful solution. But the humans had fired first at Mars. They had rejected every offer of negotiation. What choice was left? Do it, he said quietly, but try to minimize casualties. These are sentient beings. They simply don't understand the benefits of galactic law. The commanders began coordinating. Vrex watched their tactical displays show Coalition ships moving from across nearby systems. Thousands of vessels converging on Earth's solar system. The humans would see them coming. Maybe then they would realize the futility of resistance. Meanwhile, in Earth's command center, Admiral Hana was smiling. They're mobilizing their main fleet, Commander Sung reported. Our long-range sensors show massive movement. At least 8,000 ships heading our way. They'll arrive in waves over the next 72 hours? Good, Hana said. The other officers looked at her like she was crazy. Captain Yuna leaned forward. Admiral, did you just say good? They're sending 8,000 ships. Exactly, Hana said. They're doing exactly what we want. They're committing their forces to a direct assault. They're thinking in terms of overwhelming numbers. They're fighting the war they know how to fight. She pulled up a tactical map, which means we fight a different war. Commander Wu, status of strike teams. Commander Wu stood. He was shorter than most military officers, built lean and fast. Special operations, the kind of soldier who won wars through precision rather than power. Strike teams are deployed and ready. We have 50 stealth corvettes in position throughout the outer system, each one crewed by volunteers, each one loaded with enough firepower to take out ships 10 times their size. Show them, Hana ordered. The tactical display changed. It showed Coalition fleet movements, supply ships, communication relays, command vessels, all the infrastructure that a massive fleet needed to function, and scattered around them, invisible on Coalition sensors, human strike teams waded like sharks in dark water. The Coalition thinks in terms of formal battle, Hana explained. Fleet against fleet, ship against ship. They don't understand asymmetric warfare. They don't understand that you don't have to destroy the enemy's fleet. You just have to make it impossible for them to fight effectively. She pointed to the supply lines. Commander Wu, your teams will target logistics. Every fuel depot, every ammunition transport, every supply convoy. Make it so their ships can't stay operational. Understood. Captain Yuna, your fighters will harass their formations. Never engage directly. Hit and run. Make them waste ammunition chasing you. Make their pilots exhausted and afraid. Yuna grinned. I know just how to annoy them. Commander Sung, intelligence teams will target their communications. Jam their signals. Feed them false information. Make their commanders doubt what they're seeing. Create chaos in their ranks. Already working on it, Sung confirmed. Hana pulled up another display. This one showed Earth's main fleet. Only 217 ships, outnumbered 40-1 by the approaching Coalition forces. Our main fleet stays defensive, Hana said. We protect Earth, we protect the colonies. We don't chase the enemy into open space. We make them come to us. And every time they advance, we make them pay for it. Over the next 3 days, the Coalition learned what it meant to fight humans. Commander Wu's strike teams attacked without warning. A coalition supply convoy carrying fuel for 1,000 ships exploded in a series of carefully placed detonations. A communication relay broadcasting orders to the fleet suddenly started sending contradictory commands. A fleet of ammunition transports vanished, destroyed by weapons they never saw coming. The coalition commanders were confused. Their sensors showed nothing. Their patrols found nothing. But ships kept disappearing. Supplies kept getting destroyed. The massive fleet that was supposed to overwhelm Earth by numbers was suddenly running low on basic resources. Where are they? Fleet Admiral Corvin demanded. Our sensors show no enemy vessels. How are they attacking us? His tactical officer looked terrified. Sir, we don't know. The attacks come from nowhere. By the time we respond, the attackers are gone. It's like fighting ghosts. Meanwhile, Captain Yuna led her fighter squadrons in hit-and-run attacks that made coalition pilots question their career choices. She dove through an enemy formation at speeds that should have torn her fighter apart. G-forces crushed her into her seat. Her vision narrowed to a tunnel. But she held course, firing missiles into the tightly packed coalition ships before banking away at an angle that made her craft scream in protest. Coalition fighters tried to follow. Their pilots were good, well-trained, but they'd never experienced combat like this, never pushed their ships to the breaking point, never accepted that victory sometimes required risking death. Yuna's fighter spun, engines flaring, and she watched 3 coalition fighters overshoot her position. They were faster, better armed, more advanced, but they flew like they were afraid of breaking their expensive ships, like they valued equipment over victory. She targeted the nearest one and fired. The coalition fighter exploded. The other 2 broke off, fleeing back to their carrier. Target-rich environment, Yuna reported over the squadron channel. They're not chasing anymore. I think we scared them. Good, came Admiral Hana's response. Keep them scared, exhausted, unsure. That's how we win. In the coalition fleet, morale was collapsing. Soldiers who had signed up for peacekeeping duty were experiencing real war. Pilots who had never fired weapons in combat were watching their friends die. Commanders who had spent their careers managing bureaucracy were making life-and-death tactical decisions. And they were losing. Lieutenant Sora, serving aboard the ESS Retribution, monitored coalition communications. Earth's intelligence division had cracked their encryption within hours. Now they listened to every order, every report, every panicked transmission. Listen to this, Sora said, playing a recorded message. It was a coalition soldier speaking to his commander. Sir, we can't hold this position. The humans attack from every direction. Our sensors can't track them. Our weapons can't hit them. They're too fast, too aggressive. They don't hesitate. They just keep coming. Another transmission. A coalition pilot. Request permission to return to carrier. My squadron is at 20% effectiveness. 3 pilots are injured. 2 are dead. The rest are exhausted. We can't keep flying these missions. And another. A supply officer. We need fuel. We need ammunition. We need replacement parts. The convoy was supposed to arrive 6 hours ago. It never showed. Sir, half the fleet is running on reserve power. Sora looked at Captain Tay, who was listening from the Defiance bridge. Sir, they're breaking. Not physically. Mentally. They're not ready for this kind of war. Tay nodded slowly. Because they've never fought a species like us. They've maintained peace through intimidation. But intimidation only works if your opponent can be intimidated. And humans don't scare easily. He pulled up tactical data showing the coalition fleet. 8,000 ships. Still massive, still dangerous. But scattered, disorganized, running low on supplies. Pilots exhausted. Soldiers demoralized. The coalition thinks war is about numbers, Tay said. About technology. About showing force until the enemy surrenders. They don't understand that war is about will. About determination, about the willingness to keep fighting even when the odds say you should quit. He opened a channel to Admiral Hana. Admiral, the coalition fleet is vulnerable. They're spread thin, low on supplies. Their morale is collapsing. If we hit them now, hit them hard, we can break them. Negative, Hana said firmly. We stick to the plan. Harassment, disruption, attrition. Let them exhaust themselves trying to reach Earth. Then, when they're at their weakest, we show them what happens when you threaten our home. Tay understood. This wasn't just about winning battles. It was about teaching a lesson. The coalition needed to learn that Earth couldn't be conquered, that humanity would fight with everything they had, That galactic law meant nothing to people defending their freedom. Days passed. The Coalition fleet continued advancing, but slower now. Ships moved in tight formations, protecting against strike team attacks. Fighters flew in pairs, watching each other's backs. Supply convoys traveled with heavy escorts. They were learning, adapting, but it was taking a toll. Ambassador Vrex watched the casualty report. Captain Jin stood on the command deck of the Mars defense platform Olympus. Through the reinforced windows he could see the red planet below. 3 million people lived in the colonies scattered across Mars. 3 million people who were counting on him to keep them safe. Captain, the Coalition ships are entering weapons range, Lieutenant Juan reported. She was young, fresh from the academy. This would be her first combat. Probably the first combat for most of the crew. The Mars garrison was supposed to be a quiet posting, a place where nothing ever happened. That had changed 30 minutes ago. 50 Coalition vessels approached in perfect formation. They moved slowly, deliberately. Jin could see them on the tactical display, arranged in a pattern that looked almost artistic. Beautiful ships with gleaming hulls and elegant designs. They looked more like art pieces than weapons of war. That was their first mistake. All stations report ready, Lieutenant Juan said. Her voice shook slightly. Fear. Natural. Jin remembered his own first combat experience, years ago during the Belt Wars. He'd been terrified too. But fear kept you alive if you used it right. Steady, Jin said calmly. Remember your training. Remember your drills. We've practiced this scenario 100 times, that was a lie. They'd never practiced fighting alien warships, but they'd practiced fighting ships with superior technology and firepower. During the Belt Wars, the outer colonies had learned how to fight Earth's better-equipped navy. They'd learned that skill and determination could overcome technological advantage. Jin opened a channel to the other defense platforms. Mars had 6 orbital stations, each one armed with weapons that Earth Command insisted were purely defensive. That was technically true. They were defensive. They just happened to be very, very good at defense. All platforms, this is Olympus Actual, Jin said. Hold fire until my command. Let them get close. Let them think we're afraid. Sir, shouldn't we warn them? Lieutenant Juan asked. Give them a chance to turn back? Jin looked at her. Young, idealistic, not yet understanding how war worked. They came here to destroy a colony as a demonstration, to kill millions of people to prove a point. They've already made their choice. He pulled up the Coalition transmission that Earth Command had forwarded. Ambassador Vrex's face filled a side monitor, looking smug and confident. We will destroy one of your outer colonies as an example. Then you will understand the consequences of defiance. Jin felt cold anger settle in his chest. These aliens thought they could come to humanity's home and kill people like it was nothing, like humans were animals to be put down. They were about to learn differently. Captain, they're hailing us, the communications officer reported. Put it through. The main screen changed. A different alien appeared. This one wore what might have been a military uniform, decorated with symbols that probably indicated rank. It spoke, and the translator converted the words to Korean. Human defensive position. This is Fleet Commander Talrix of the Coalition 2nd Fleet. You are ordered to power down your weapons and submit to boarding. Your colony will be seized as per galactic law. Resistance will result in your immediate destruction. Jin didn't respond immediately. He watched the tactical display. The Coalition ships were getting closer. 40,000 kilometers. 35,000. They were entering the optimal range for Mars defense grid. Fleet Commander Talrix, Jin said slowly. This is Captain Jin of the Mars Defense Force. I have a message for you. Proceed. Turn back. Leave our space. This is your only warning. The alien commander's face did something that might have been a laugh. You have 50 ships approaching your position. Your sensors must show you that each of our vessels is superior to your primitive platform. Surrender is your only option. I gave you a chance, Jin said quietly. Then he cut the transmission. Lieutenant Juan looked at him, waiting. The entire bridge crew waited. Outside, the Coalition fleet continued its approach. 20,000 kilometers. They were still in formation, still moving slowly. Still confident, all platforms, Jin said into the fleet channel. Weapons free. Target designation Alpha through uniform. Fire on my mark. Across Mars orbit, 6 defense platforms came alive. Weapon ports that had been hidden behind armor plating opened. Targeting systems that had been running on standby shifted to active mode. Reactors that had been conserving power surged to full capacity. The coalition ships continued forward. They didn't break formation. They didn't accelerate. They didn't seem to realize what was about to happen. "Mark," Jin said. The Mars defense grid fired. Railguns launched solid projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. Missiles streaked from launch tubes, their engines burning bright. Laser batteries focused coherent light on target points. Particle beams carved through space. Every weapon system that humanity had developed, all firing simultaneously. The coalition formation disappeared in a storm of fire. Jin watched the tactical display. The alien ships had shields. Good shields. They absorbed the first wave of fire, flickering and flashing as energy dispersed across their surfaces. But the Mars grid didn't fire one wave. It fired continuously. Railgun rounds hammered shields like industrial presses. Missiles detonated against protective barriers. Nuclear fire washing over ship hulls. Lasers burned through shield generators, and the coalition ships didn't know how to respond. They tried to maintain formation, tried to return fire in coordinated volleys. But Mars weapons weren't designed for coordination. They were designed for overwhelming violence. The platforms fired independently, each one targeting multiple ships, creating a kill zone that gave the enemy nowhere to run. "Direct hit on target Alpha," Lieutenant Juan reported. Her voice was stronger now. Combat had that effect. Fear transformed into focus. "Shield collapse. Hull breach. Target is venting atmosphere. Target Beta destroyed," another officer called out. "Target Charlie disabled. Delta taking heavy damage." The coalition fleet finally broke formation. Ships scattered, trying to escape the firing solution. But they were slow. Built for intimidation, not maneuverability. Human weapons tracked them easily. Target Echo destroyed. Foxtrot destroyed. Golf attempting to flee. Jin felt no satisfaction. No joy, just cold determination. These aliens had come to kill his people. They'd threatened his colony. Every ship he destroyed meant lives saved. "Captain, some of them are trying to signal surrender," the communications officer said. "Jam their transmissions," Jin ordered. "No survivors can report our capabilities. Earth Command wants the coalition to underestimate us as long as possible." It was brutal. Necessary. If the coalition learned too much too quickly, they'd adapt. They'd send ships specifically designed to counter human weapons. Better to keep them ignorant. Better to make them think this was just luck. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, 47 coalition ships were destroyed or disabled. 3 had managed to escape, fleeing at maximum speed back toward the outer system. Jin let them go. Let them carry word back to their commanders. Let them spread fear. "Damage report," Jin ordered. Platform Ares took some hits. Shield damage. Minor hull breach in Sector 7. Platform Athena reports targeting computer malfunction. The rest of us are green across the board. Jin nodded. Light damage. Acceptable losses. He pulled up the casualty reports. 2 dead, 8 injured, against 50 enemy ships. Captain Earth Command is hailing. Admiral Hana's face appeared on screen. She looked grim. Report, the 50 coalition ships engaged. 47 destroyed or disabled. 3 escaped. 2 friendly Ka, 8 wounded. Mars colony is secure. Hana was silent for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Well done, Captain. Upload all tactical data to Fleet Command. We need to analyze their response patterns, their shield frequencies, everything. This is just the beginning." "Understood, Admiral. What are my orders?" "Hold position. Reinforce your platforms. The coalition will send more ships, many more. They won't make the same mistakes twice." The transmission ended. Jin turned to his crew. They looked shocked, elated, terrified. All natural reactions to surviving combat. "Listen to me," Jin said firmly. "What we did today was necessary, but it's not over. Not even close. We won this battle because they underestimated us, because they thought we'd surrender without fighting. That advantage is gone now. The next time they come, they'll be ready." He pulled up an image of Mars. The colony lights twinkled across the surface. Cities, farms, schools, homes. "We're not heroes," Jin said. "We're soldiers. We did our job. And our job is to keep those people down there alive. The coalition came here to destroy this colony, to kill millions as an example. We stopped them. But they'll try again. They have thousands of ships. They have the entire galaxy behind them. All we have is ourselves." Lieutenant Juan raised her hand. Sir, is it true what Captain Tay said? About Earth having its own laws? Jin smiled slightly. Yes, it's true. The Coalition has laws that say we must obey, that we must submit, that we must accept their authority. But Earth has its own laws, and our laws say we protect our people, we defend our homes. We never surrender. He looked around the bridge. The Coalition thinks they can intimidate us. They think showing force will make us bow. They don't understand that humans are different. We've spent our entire history fighting. Every generation has known war. It's in our blood. It's who we are. So what happens now? Someone asked. The alarm systems across the ESS Defiant screamed to life at 0600 hours. Captain Tay was already awake, staring at the tactical display that showed something impossible. 300 alien vessels had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, their signatures unlike anything in humanity's database. The bridge crew scrambled to their stations. Lieutenant Mira rushed in, her uniform half-fastened, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's broadcasting on all frequencies. Every ship, every station, every comm device on Earth is picking it up. Tay nodded slowly. Put it through. The main screen flickered. A creature appeared that looked nothing like the aliens from old Earth movies. It stood tall with crystalline skin that reflected light in strange patterns. 4 arms crossed over its chest in what might have been a gesture of authority. Its voice came through the translators with an unsettling calm. Primitive species of the 3rd planet. I am Ambassador Vrex of the Talarian Empire, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Coalition. Your presence has been noted. Your development has been observed. The time has come for your integration into civilized space. Tay felt his jaw tighten. The word primitive hung in the air like an insult. Around the bridge, he could see his crew's reactions. Some looked afraid. Others looked angry. Good. Anger was better than fear. The ambassador continued. By galactic law established 7,000 cycles ago, all spacefaring species must submit to Coalition authority. You will dismantle your military forces. You will accept our guidance. You will obey our laws. This is not a request. This is a requirement that every species in the known galaxy has accepted. The screen showed images of other worlds, hundreds of them. Aliens of every shape and size, all bowing before Coalition symbols. The message was clear. Resistance was futile. Compliance was inevitable. You have 1 rotation of your planet to respond, 24 of your hours. Submit peacefully, and you will be welcomed into the galactic community. Resist, and you will be brought to compliance by force. The Coalition has maintained peace for millennia through strength. Do not test that strength. The transmission ended. The bridge fell silent except for the soft beeping of instruments. Lieutenant Mira looked at Tay, waiting for orders. The rest of the crew did the same. They all knew what was at stake. Earth's independence, humanity's freedom, everything they had fought for across centuries of space exploration. Tay stood from his command chair and walked to the viewing port. Earth hung below them, beautiful and blue, home to 8 billion souls who had no idea their entire way of life had just been threatened. He thought about his daughter down there, probably eating breakfast before school. He thought about his parents, retired in Busan, probably watching the morning news. He thought about every person who had ever looked up at the stars and dreamed of meeting other life. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Open a channel, Tay said quietly. Direct response to the Coalition flagship. Mira's fingers flew across her console. Channel open, sir. They're receiving. Tay turned to face the screen. He knew his image was being broadcast to that alien ship. He knew Ambassador Vrex and probably dozens of other Coalition officials were watching. He knew this moment would define everything that came next. His voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that came before a storm. Ambassador Vrex, this is Captain Tay of the Earth Space Service vessel Defiant. I've received your message. I've heard your demands, and I have a response for you. He paused. Let them wait. Let them think he was considering their ultimatum. Then he smiled. It was not a friendly smile. That's cute. We have our own laws. He made a cutting gesture across his throat. Mira killed the transmission immediately. The bridge remained silent for 3 full seconds. Then someone started laughing. It was Lieutenant Park at the weapons station. The laughter spread. Within moments, the entire bridge crew was either laughing or grinning. Did you just... Mira started, unable to finish the sentence. Yes, Tay said simply. I did. Get me Admiral Hana, Priority 1. Then contact Earth Command. Tell them to initiate Protocol Defiance, Protocol Defiance. Every officer in the fleet knew what that meant. It was the contingency plan Earth had developed decades ago, when they first ventured beyond their solar system. The plan for if humanity ever encountered hostile alien life. The plan that military strategists had refined using every lesson learned from thousands of years of human warfare. The plan nobody actually expected to use. Mira worked her console. Admiral Hana is responding. Putting her through. Admiral Hana's face appeared on a secondary screen. She was older than Tay, with gray hair and eyes that had seen 3 major conflicts in the outer colonies. Her expression was hard. I saw the transmission. Both of them. Captain, are you out of your mind? Possibly, Tay admitted. But what choice did we have? Submit, surrender? Allow some alien empire to dictate our laws? Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Earth Command has authorized Protocol Defiance. All fleet elements are moving to battle stations. The grid is powering up. Captain Tay, you just started a war with an enemy that has 300 ships in our system and probably thousands more. I know. They'll send those ships against us. I know. We might not survive this. I know. Tay looked at Earth again. But we'll survive it as free people. Not as subjects. Not as slaves to someone else's laws. Hana's expression softened slightly, almost a smile. Spoken like a true human. All ships are yours to command, Captain. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten Earth. The transmission ended. Tay turned back to his crew. They were ready. He could see it in their faces. Fear had been replaced by determination. Doubt had been replaced by purpose. All hands battle stations, Tay ordered. Charge all weapons. Raise shields. Prepare for combat. And someone get me a damage assessment on every coalition ship in range. I want to know their capabilities, their weaknesses, everything. Sir, Lieutenant Park called out. We're detecting movement from the coalition fleet. 50 ships are breaking formation. They're heading toward Mars. Tay felt ice in his veins. Mars colony. 3 million people, families, children. Contact Captain Jin on the Mars defense platform. Tell him weapons free. If those ships enter Mars orbit, he is authorized to fire. Sir, that will start the shooting. Tay finished. Yes. But they started this when they came to our home and demanded we obey. Lieutenant Mira, send a message to all Earth forces. Tell them the coalition has made their choice. Now we make ours. He sat back in his command chair, hands gripping the armrests. Outside the viewing port, he could see other Earth ships taking position. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers. Humanity's defense fleet, small compared to the alien armada. Outgunned and outnumbered but not outfought. Never outfought. Let them come, Tay said quietly. Let them learn why Earth has its own laws. Admiral Hana stood in the war room deep beneath Geneva. The walls displayed tactical data from across the solar system. Red dots marked coalition ships. Blue dots marked human vessels. There were far too many red dots and far too few blue ones. But numbers had never told the whole story of human conflict. Around the table sat the commanders of Earth's defense forces. General Kwan from the Ground Defense Force. Commander Sung from Intelligence. Captain Yuna, the fleet's best fighter pilot. And dozens of others representing every nation, every military tradition, every fighting force that humanity had ever produced. They expect us to surrender, Hana began. She pulled up the coalition's first contact message. They've done this to hundreds of worlds. Show up with overwhelming force, make demands, wait for compliance. It's worked every time. Until now, Commander Sung said. He was young for his position, barely 30, but his mind was sharp. I've been analyzing the data we've collected on their fleet. Their ships, their movements, their formations. And I found something interesting. He gestured and the display changed. It showed coalition vessels in perfect geometric patterns. Beautiful, precise, useless. These formations are ceremonial, Sung continued. Look at the spacing. Look at the positioning. They're optimized for visual impact, not tactical advantage. Their ships cluster together for impressive displays, which makes them vulnerable to area effect weapons. They maintain communication lines that are easy to intercept. They broadcast their movements hours in advance. Captain Yuna leaned forward. They don't know how to fight. Exactly, Sung confirmed. The coalition has maintained peace for over 1,000 years. But it's not peace through strength. It's peace through intimidation. They show up, They look impressive and everyone submits. They haven't fought a real war in centuries, maybe never. Hana felt something stir in her chest. Hope. Dangerous hope. Show them the historical analysis. Sung pulled up another display. This one showed Earth's history, thousands of years compressed into visual data. Wars, battles, conflicts of every size and scale. Humanity is different, Sung said. We've never had peace. Not really. Every generation has known conflict. Every culture has developed ways to fight. We've spent our entire existence learning how to kill each other more efficiently. We've studied strategy, tactics, logistics, psychology. We've fought on land, sea, air, and space. We've fought with swords, guns, missiles, and orbital strikes. He paused, letting that sink in. The Coalition has better technology. They have more ships. They have larger numbers. But they've never faced an enemy like us. They've never faced a species that treats war as an art form. They've never faced humans. General Quan spoke up. His voice was rough, worn from years of shouting orders across battlefields. The question is whether our experience can overcome their advantages. Technology matters. Numbers matter. Yes, Hana agreed. But they're not the only things that matter. Commander Sung, show them the psychological profiles. The display changed again. This time it showed data collected from Coalition communications. Emotional analysis, decision-making patterns, stress responses. Coalition species are peaceful by nature, Sung explained. Most of them evolved on worlds with few predators. They developed society through cooperation, not competition. War is foreign to them, frightening. They have soldiers, but those soldiers are trained for peacekeeping, not combat. They have weapons, but they've never used them in real battle. He pulled up footage from the Coalition's message. Ambassador Vrex, standing proud and confident. Behind him, alien soldiers in elaborate uniforms. Look at them, Sung said. They're not warriors. They're police. They're designed to maintain order among populations that don't want to fight back. They've never encountered a species that looks at overwhelming odds and decides to fight anyway. Captain Yuna smiled. It was a predator's smile. They're in for a surprise. Hana turned to her assembled commanders. Here's what we know. The Coalition has 300 ships in our system right now. Based on their communication patterns, they have thousands more in nearby systems. They can call for reinforcements. They will call for reinforcements when we don't surrender. And, someone asked, and we're going to make them regret coming here. Hana said flatly. We're going to teach them what happens when you threaten Earth. Commander Sung, what's our intelligence on their fleet composition? Sung pulled up detailed schematics. They have capital ships, cruisers, and what appear to be fighter craft. Their capital ships are large but slow. Heavy armor, heavy shields but poor maneuverability. Their cruisers are faster but lightly armed. Their fighters are atmospheric capable but not built for space superiority combat. Weaknesses? Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and physical projectiles, but not both simultaneously. Their armor is strong against sustained fire, but vulnerable to concentrated strikes. Their communication network is centralized, meaning if we take out command ships, the rest lose coordination. And most importantly, their tactical doctrine is rigid. They follow set patterns. They don't adapt. Hana felt that dangerous hope growing. Lieutenant Park, what's the status of the Mars defense grid? A new voice came through the speakers. Lieutenant Park was still aboard the Defiant with Captain Tay. Mars grid is at full power, Admiral. Captain Jin reports all weapon systems operational. 50 Coalition ships are approaching Mars space. They should arrive within 2 hours. Let them come, Hana said. Captain Jin knows what to do. The Coalition expects us to negotiate, to plead, to show fear. Instead, we're going to show them what human determination looks like. She pulled up the deployment plans. Every ship, every station, every weapon platform Earth had built in its expansion through the solar system. The Coalition thinks we're primitives, Hana continued. They think our technology is crude. They're right. Our ships are slower than theirs. Our weapons are less sophisticated. Our shields are weaker. But we have something they don't have. We have experience. We have adaptability. We have the accumulated knowledge of every military force in human history. She pointed to the display. We've studied the ancient Earth generals. Sun Tzu, Alexander, Napoleon. We've analyzed modern warfare, naval tactics, air superiority, combined arms. We've taken lessons from every conflict and distilled them into doctrine. The Coalition has peace. We have war. And war is what we know. General Quan stood. What are your orders, Admiral? Hana took a breath. This was the moment. The decision that would either save Earth or doom it. We fight, she said simply. Not on their terms, on ours. We don't meet them in formal battle. We hit them hard, fast, and from unexpected angles. We make them afraid. We make them doubt. We show them that humans don't follow anyone's rules but our own. She pulled up the tactical plans.
Strike groups.
Ambush points. Fallback positions. It was a plan built on centuries of human military thought. Asymmetric warfare. Guerrilla tactics. Psychological operations. Everything that had worked throughout human history adapted for space combat. Commander Sung, I want full intelligence on every coalition ship. Find their command vessels. Find their supply lines. Find their communication hubs. Those are our priority targets. Yes, ma'am. Captain Yuna, you'll lead our fighter squadrons. Your job is to make their pilots afraid to leave their hangars. Hit and run. Never engage in sustained combat. Make them chase you into kill zones. Understood. General Quan, prepare ground forces. If they try to land troops, we need to show them what urban warfare looks like. Every city is a fortress. Every citizen is a soldier. Make it clear that taking Earth would cost them everything. It will be done. Hana looked around the room. These were Earth's finest. Every one of them knew the odds. Every one of them knew they might not survive the coming days. But not one of them showed fear. That was the human way. Face impossible odds with determination. Face certain death with courage. The coalition came to our home and demanded we obey their laws, Hana said. They expect us to bow, to submit, to accept their authority. But they've forgotten something important. They've forgotten that not every species is willing to trade freedom for safety. They've forgotten that some species would rather die fighting than live kneeling. She pulled up an image of Earth. Their beautiful blue world. Home. We're human. Hana said quietly. We don't obey. We don't surrender, we fight. And if they want to take our freedom, they're going to pay for it in blood. Their blood. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Show them why Earth makes its own laws. The commander saluted. Not with fear. Not with hesitation. With pride. The war had begun.